religion versus spirituality. What side are you on?
Black Jesus. How do y'all feel about, I guess the culture of religion? How has that played a role in your life? And also, how do you perceive religion to guide your life, if you do?
So, for me personally,
Loaded question.
I started my faith with what I'll call religion. And that's the organization of like churches and stuff like that. But I didn't have a relationship. So I would go to church and I would go there. I wouldn't touch my Bible from Sunday to Sunday. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't open my Bible until Sunday, the next Sunday. But when I felt like I got more spiritual and had a relationship, that's when I was like, oh, like, this works. You know what I mean? To the point where I can do my own thing outside of church. Because the pastor might say something that I totally don't agree with. You know what I mean? But I feel like sometimes it's people, they like dive so deep into the religion part that the pastor can go say jump off a bridge and you like, all right. Because you got more relationship with the pastor than the higher being.
So you speaking of more spirituality?
So I think for me personally, I became more spiritual.
Okay.
And my relationship got stronger.
So let's clarify this, because I think a lot of people break it down as to spiritual, meaning I don't believe in a religion per se, right? But I believe in a higher being. Whereas religion, me personally, I'm a Christian, and I follow the guidelines of that religion. So let's take it from that extent.
Something to frame.
Me to take that?
Yeah.
That's fair. Okay, that's a good way to frame the discussion.
So, what O said, correct. You follow a religion, that's Christianity. So you're going to be defined. But spirituality, it takes it a little bit deeper. If you meditate, if you practice universal laws, law of attraction, you do yoga, Buddha, like everything, sage, you get energy from crystals. This is where spirituality takes place. Like, what is your mind frame when you step outside of the church? And it's not really a versus thing to me, because I'm not against any, unless you like devil worshiping, but religion and spirituality, I think, me personally, they should coincide if you don't have one or the other.
But this is where I disagree with you. I don't think, for me personally, I am a Christian, and I don't think spirituality takes it a little bit deeper, because within the Bible, it tells you that your spirit is the thing you want to feed the most. And building a relationship.
No, I agree with that.
Building a relationship with Christ, and like really learning about yourself and how you follow these guidelines of the Bible. Yeah, I know a lot of people say, oh my God, the Bible is a book and it was written, and then it was written by a man that's flawed, and the European church changed the Bible. A lot of these things are valid arguments, yes, but what I tell them is, for one, it's not a debate for me. Why do I have to defend that I'm a Christian? Why do you attack me for what I believe in? But it's okay that you believe those history books that you read that was written by a man. Or even if we go back to the hieroglyphics, the first hieroglyphics we found on the wall, a man wrote those. But everybody wants to say that's ancient, that's facts, right?
Yeah.
So
I think overall, like you said, in separation of the two, spirituality is the whole. It is you being in touch that there is your spirit that needs to be fed. So there's that in and of itself, and then you choose how you feed it, and then religion is a thing that you chose to feed your spirituality. So we're all spiritual. I choose religion to feed mine. Someone else chooses the universal laws to feed theirs, and the laws of attraction and positive speaking and thinking. Someone else just chooses meditation and meditation only. Someone else chooses Buddhism. The spirituality is the bubble, and how you feed it is determined what you are.
And I think so. A lot of the conversations that we have is interesting enough because we use terminology. I think that's where we go left, right? So, to your point, I think where it's rare that we're working with a universal definition, right? But I think the more important, I don't want to say that, is why we're having the conversation. Why the conversation, I think, represents, when you look at spirituality, is a rejection of the other thing, right? There are a population of people who have rejected this thing that does not work, is dogmatic, is rooted in human, you know what I mean? And they embrace a thing, but it's like they pulled out the thing that they thought they need that wasn't working in the thing, right? You see what I'm saying? Like if I can go into my home and pull up some crystals or do whatever and feel the same kind of peace and balance that I should have felt when I was in church and didn't, then I'm gonna take that, right? So I think what's happening is that it's rare that we're actually reckoning with the problem, right? Like so.
But see, and that's what I was talking about, and that's why I say, like, for me, my definition, I guess, and everybody has their own definition. When I think religion, I think of the organization, because spirituality to me is the thing that brings everybody together.
Right.
Because we can connect above ourselves and realize, like, when you humble yourself, to me, when you're humbling yourself and you think on a spiritual level, that brings love and that brings connection between everybody else. Whereas if I'm Christian, I might not mess with you if you're a Baptist.
Right.
I might not mess with you if you're a Jew. Like, I felt like those organizations are.
I was triggered right now.
Because I didn't finish my point. It comes around. I don't want to cut y'all off, but it was a half of a point. Because the thing is, what I want us to get at, I want us to see is that once you see a y'all go ahead, because I don't want to shortchange my point.
I agree.
You say it in this fullness. Get it together and say it in this fullness.
It brings into question a lot of it, because you can, even like some of the older Christians, you can see and feel their disposition. Oh, it's Christian, and if I were to say, honest, truthfully, I'm Buddhist. And it'd be like, okay. Like really, some people's disposition, and that's what, like he said, it separates us. Like, you know what? I was a Christian for a while. I'm not, but I'm not Buddhist, but Sarah, I was Christian for a while. I grew up that way, and I liked this piece, and I plucked this piece, and I liked, the part where you read the scripture, but I didn't like what I was reading, so I like the chants better, and it makes me feel better in line with my mantra and my yoga, and all of that works better for me. But you don't like that, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm glad you said that. So that was the other half of my point that I didn't want to shortchange. But that's a
thoughts.
good little segue, because I
thoughts.
think what people are trying to get. So I'm a Christian, right? And I think I'm saying this on record. I think that the biggest deterrent for the Christian God, if there's a separate one, a distinct one.
Right.
The biggest deterrent for people following and worshiping that God is Christians, right? They ruin that, right? Like, so we go to church and we be like, the devil led all these people astray. But I'm certain that behind Christians, the devil could take a day off. I honestly believe that. But so what happens is that we don't reckon with the fact that we are creating an environment where it is beneficial to move away from the things that we practice, right? We are displaying qualities that do not. So then what happens is, I go into a Christian church and I see Christian people behave in a way that I think is below my expectation of them, right? Then I hear those same people tell me that what they're reading and following are the words of God. This is why we question them, right? Because when we read the history books, we receive that as words from man. We read the hieroglyphics, we understand that men said that. But Christians say that these are God's words, right? That God said you should stone those people, and God said you should exile those people, and God burned those people alive. And so what happens is we haven't yet, as an institution, so I'm talking about Christians specifically, we haven't reconciled with those facts, right? We haven't had a conversation with people about how a God who could do those things and enable and bless us, how that kind of God can do any good for them, right? And until we, I'm saying we, because that's ownership on our part, until we can bridge that gap, and I can say the same God that said we should stone and exile gay people loves you. Until you can reconcile those facts, people aren't gonna come. You know what I mean?
And that's huge. And the biggest thing too, like with religion and spirituality, like I grew up in the church, like since I was a kid. Like, and the thing is this, now I lean more towards spirituality. Because now I see religion as like, okay, is this a way to like have people in a class? Because I've seen people at my own church, oh, he's a Muslim, or he's this and he's that, and you're the main one judging him. So this and I had a situation with one of the pastors, and he was like, would you get that sleeve again? Like, why would God have you get that sleeve? And I said, well, let me break it down to you and let you understand what the sleeve means. And I told him how I meant about my grandma and things of that nature. And I went to the word on it. I was like, well, doesn't it say judge not lest you be judged? Why are you judging me?
So this
That's
is
the main reason why people don't go to church now.
Right.
So-
because the thing is, if I
Yeah,
need
our culture,
spirituality, if
bro.
I need a touch from God, I can get on my phone on Instagram, watch Stephen Furtick, watch somebody else,
WJ.
and not even walk in
And
here
not-
and be
and not-
judged
yeah,
by
yeah.
you.
So
Yeah.
this is my whole kind of thing about when we hear a lot about religion. Let's say I'm speaking from a Christian perspective. A lot of people that go against it only speak on the misuse of religion. So they take the people who use religion wrong and use that as an example as to why they don't rock with y'all.
Yeah, 'cause that's
You get what I'm
what's
saying?
seen in the
They'll say,
Yeah.
"Oh, a lot of these Christians did me wrong, and you supposed to be a Christian."
Yeah.
But what I say on that is, why are you looking at the person? You get what I'm saying? We can all look at a flawed example in everything, but we want to highlight
The
the
one
church
person
that
that
was
I think
wrong.
that's-
When all actuality, the church is not the building.
Well, no, and
The
that's
church
true,
is
but
the
I think-
fellowship
but I
of the
think
people,
The
right?
bigger fish to fry is that. Like, it's
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
the connection, and I'm Christian also, so I made some confusion.
But you shouldn't even have to make that disclaimer though. That's
right,
the
I
thing.
shouldn't have to make the disclaimer. It shouldn't be a thing of like, well, she's doing all this, all we know, what is she,
Yeah.
but it is the connection that you make, because a lot of times, even like we were talking about our love languages or whatever before, the end result is communication. And what happens is you do have the Bible that says, you know, you can have your slaves and, you know, you can beat them, whatever. And then you do have the same God that
Submit to
says,
your master.
you know, love and, you know, judge not, lest you be judged and all of that. And then when asked to clarify, when asked to, hey, how do these things go together? It's one of those, it just is what it is. And remember, we talked about that in the episode before.
And
There is no such thing. There is no is what it is. We have to get to the bottom
And,
of it.
that's
gotta
why,
dig
and that's
deeper.
why when so for a point in time, I grew up in the church, man. I was in church 4 times out the week as a kid.
Yeah.
But when I got to
Right.
college, I was so pissed off at church because I'm like, yo, that's all I had to do. So I went away from the church. You get what I'm saying? And I even had crazy experiences. Like, for example, my sister died, man. And my mom sat there that night. We knew my sister was dying. Everybody was there. And my mom sat in that room with my sister, and she prayed to God until she was finally ready for her to let her daughter go. And she said, okay, God, you can take my daughter now. And my sister took her last breaths right there. And even seeing stuff like that, bro, for me, when I got to church, when I got to college, I'm like, yo, I can do my own stuff. I don't got to go to Bible study. I don't got to go to prayer. I don't got to go to intercessory. I don't got to clean the church. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm going to do my own thing. So I spent so much time away from the church, listening to other people with different religions or people who weren't religious at all. But something ended up pulling me back. So when I came back, I talked to a young pastor that kind of understood our generation and how we grew up. And the first thing he told me was, Oscar, before you read this Bible, you have to read it in a language that you understand, for one, and two, you have to realize the context in which it was said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
You made a great point because you basically highlight the importance of spirituality. I think that a lot of times we get so caught up in religion, like a lot of us have said, we grew up in the church. I grew up in the Southern Baptist church where you played the roles of church. You was on the usher board, you was in the choir, you got into a system of doing. Very seldom do we get to the point where we, as a youth, understand the connection to God. Like you said, that moment where you witness a prayer, a moment where your mom was connecting with God, and you could probably feel the emotion and feel God's presence. A lot of times we don't even reach that until we get in our late to mid 20s.
Yeah.
I was about to say, great point. I'm gonna go back to what you stated earlier because, like everybody else, I grew up in the church, and it was a point in time when I was like 6, 7 years old. I was like, man, I'm gonna be a pastor just because that's what I know, right? That's success, and that's what like preaching the word. It wasn't until I built a relationship to where I put some stuff, I'm gonna say the atmosphere, and I put prayers into God, and then things came to pass, and I was just like, you know what, somebody's listening to me, right? And so I started to build that relationship. One thing that changed my perspective as far as religion and spirituality is traveling, right? And I went over to China, and I saw individuals that never heard about God have a connection to something. And that's when I saw that it was all about something that's a core essence found foundational piece that you need in order to build structure off of. And when I started to see that without a religion, without Buddhists or whatever
Without
it
a
is,
name,
a lot of people
yeah.
don't even have religions over there. A lot of people don't even have religion, but it was still a connection. They were still growing. And to me, I was just like, man, it really doesn't matter about what the religion or the name title is. It's all about that connection, that foundation. And for me, I connotate it to God, because that's just how I grew up. That's my, direction.
Yeah.
For them, it might be something
got
totally
you,
different.
That helped you climb the ladder to your spirituality. And the thing is, without religion, the one thing everybody's looking for
Spread love.
is love.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that everybody's looking for. When I told y'all earlier, I said I hit rock bottom to the point where I was thinking about taking my life. What did I need in that moment? I needed love. Nobody could say anything to me. But when I was like, dang, where can I go find some love right now? I went to church. You know what I mean? And that's what most people do. So, and like you said, most people blame the church. Because if I go to church looking for love and I don't find it, then I'm like, well, I'm going to just go back to doing whatever I was doing or where I felt love before.
This is the
You know what I
problem.
mean?
This is what we're not getting at. Because the most important part of this issue is that it's not God. Right? Most of the people who have a problem with church don't have a problem with God.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but this is what I'm saying. And when this is where the miscommunication happens. Because when they leave the church, they're not leaving God.
Nope.
They're leaving us. You see what I'm saying?
Leaving
They
the
take
judgment.
issue with the church, even in part. Because it's like me with the police, right? Like, I don't fuck with police. But not because all police are bad, because I don't have the luxury of picking and choosing. Because if I choose wrong, the consequence is too high.
Yes.
There are people who are not going to go into your church. They're not coming if there is a chance that one of you is the bad cop. You understand what I'm saying? And we haven't acknowledged that. Even if it's not the entire church, it's just one person, your building, your congregation enables that person to be here. You see what I'm saying? They allow and in some ways, I think, promote their presence. You see what I'm saying? You haven't ejected them. We haven't said, oh no, bro, you hateful, you gotta go. We don't do that. And so I think what has to happen in order for you to get traction in that conversation is you have to find out how you can reconcile with the fact that we are imperfect people trying to aspire and right. But see, the thing is, we don't do that. You can't in the same breath say we are imperfect people and then say you need a lap cloth. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you can't say, oh, you a Buddhist, or oh, you a prostitute, and we imperfect people, because that means that my imperfections are bigger than yours, or more important than yours. And so I'm saying, as a Christian, the reason why you're losing people is because what we want to do is we want to move all the people who misrepresent and abuse.
And that's not Christianity.
It's not. But I'm saying no. I'm saying even. I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm talking about Christians, not them.
Yeah.
I'm saying what we want to do is we want to take bad Christians and put them over there. Yeah. You know what I mean? We want to say, oh no, it's those bad Christians, and we're the good Christians over here, and you should focus on the good Christians. But I'm saying, we got to deal with the bad ones.
And I think, to your point, I think you're saying like the bad Christians or people who misrepresent Christianity as a whole, they make it hard for people to really see and receive God. Yeah. They make it hard to.
I don't think so.
I think so.
They go find God somewhere else.
No, I'm talking about in the confines of the religion of Christianity. They don't get it there. That's why we go out and we seek other forms of spirituality. And that's why we do that. To your point, I think if you're trying to like speak a message or a word on why, certain generations of people are leaving the church and finding other ways to gain spirituality, it is that.
In the past, my bad. I see you. No, I don't want to interrupt you, but I want to say at some point you got to talk about the value proposition, right? Like
the value of like church.
Yeah, like if you black in 1920, right? Church is a hub. There are a numerous number of reasons to go, right? If I say let's go to church right now, what's the benefit? What we gonna get when we get there? You know what I'm saying?
Judgment.
You know what I mean?
You're gonna get judgment.
There's a lot of people who believe that is the only benefit. So why am I going? Right? This is not a place of community, love, camaraderie, economics, support. Like the list goes on and on. And until I'm not saying that it can't be those things, and I'm not saying those places don't exist. I'm saying until you can communicate with people in a way that allows them to see that benefit in your place or in your body, they're not going to come.
And then
that's
so for example, people are going to find whatever they're looking for, right? So a lot of us go into these places with the perception of it's going to be negative, or I don't like this, or he raping us by taking this 10% money for us, instead of actually finding a connection. You get what I'm saying? So it's different things that, like I would say, for me, finding and building a relationship all changed when I changed. And it's been more of a debate, and like I tell people, I don't want to debate Christianity or spirituality, religion versus spirituality. I want to involve. You get what I'm saying? So when we start telling people, the first thing, like, I don't put it out there, but I preface everyone when they say you're a Christian. I say the reason I tell you I'm a Christian is that means I'm an imperfect person seeking help, and God and Jesus is my way of seeking help. I want you to know, don't expect greatness from me as far as walking a straight line all the time. I'm going to fall off, but that's why I'm a Christian, because I know I'm going to fall. And God has given me the guideline to get back up and do it again.
And that's why I was saying I think it's so important to have that relationship within yourself.
Yeah.
Because think about the, like you said, you spoke on like Stephen Furtick and all these people. The popular preacher right now doesn't condemn you, because that's not his job. His job is to give you the word. You know what I mean?
Society
And you take the
condemns
word. Yeah, but you take the word and you figure out what it means for yourself. That's why they got all these translations. That's why the preacher tells you, like, yo, go read your Bible. Like, because the more you read and you like, okay, well, this doesn't make sense. Boom, let me get a different translation.
You can't
all
even
right,
say
this
that
still doesn't
to
make
people,
sense.
boy.
The more you grow and the more you invest in it, like, you don't have to take everything, but you start to realize what's for you.
Some people say Bible is the law, though. Some people
do.
The word is the word, and I don't care what it said. That's what it is.
don't
Ain't no
But how many
contradiction.
people live like that?
Not a
Even
lot.
the people that said it.
Not a lot.
Even the people that say it.
That's my
Honest
point.
people.
That say it.
But I was gonna say, because I it's not that I disagree. I just think that especially when you talk about in the confines of religion, that it is irresponsible for us to prioritize their responsibilities first, right? Yeah. I'm saying we should focus on if your lens is Christian and is religious, then the first thing that come out of your mouth is what we should be doing, right? So if somebody walks in and say he raping us with this 10%, you gotta reckon with that. You need to. So if I have a church and somebody come in and say, "Hey, you raping us with this 10%," I'm gonna show you what I'm doing with your money, right? But what we don't, what we don't do is we say, "Well, God said it," and God didn't say that. One person in the Bible gave 10% one time. In the Old Testament, in the second book, but hold on, I'm not saying.
I'm with you.
Wait, because I don't want to be misinterpreted. I'm not saying that you shouldn't give 10%. I'm not saying churches shouldn't ask for 10%. I'm not saying that it's not reasonable. I'm saying that if you are not willing to get on eye level with the people you're talking to and tell them about what you're doing, why you're doing it, and why it
There's a reason why I
matters,
said
then you're not
it
going to get
coincides
there.
in the beginning. Because people that don't understand why that 10% is given, somebody who's non-religious, it's broken down in spiritual laws why that is given. Because the more that you give, it is given back, no matter
Then
how.
why they don't ask for 90%? That's what I'm saying. If I'm on the outside, that explanation is not going to suffice. If the more you give, the more you're blessed, God should ask for 100 and give me 2, right?
That's the whole purpose of it.
No. But if that's the, you wouldn't have focused on
And that's not the reason why you give.
The purpose of giving is not to receive.
But if you're giving from your heart, you know what I'm saying? If you're giving in a positive light, and you're giving.
Now, if you
For
not
one,
Christian,
like you said,
that's all I'm saying.
Like you said, it's not a set thing. We like to say 10% because that is a good guideline to go by, because we know you can live off 90-10. But what it said is give joyfully. Anything that you give, even if it's a penny, a dollar, whatever you give, you gotta give happily.
Willingly.
You gotta willingly give it, right? Because what that means is, it's more of a practice, right?
Structure.
I'm being obedient for one, and I'm teaching myself sacrifice. Because I want to be able to.
I agree.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
I think
that what you
Makes so
just
much
said
sense,
is
right?
what they need.
Makes so much
but
sense.
it's also about finding the right place and the right people that will mold you. A lot of us don't put in the effort to find the right structure that will teach us these things.
And my point is, it's a two-way street.
Yes,
just like you said, that's what they need, and just like we talked about in the therapy episode, it's important just as much as you know that, hey, I'm a Christian and you need to know this because I'm imperfect. It's important for people to know why they're coming. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times that's the issue. I'm dragging you to church. I don't know, like everything that's gonna happen. That you're going, I ain't with this shit. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear it. I don't want to, like none of it. And so it's important to know, in a nutshell, why you're coming here. What you came to receive, and it's equally as important to when you see why that person came, that you get eye level with them.
Yeah.
If I came, you know what, I solely came and I showed up based off of, I heard something about giving 10%, Like, what is it about?
It's
It's important that you communicate effectively, not that the Bible said give 10% all the time, that you know what?
It's important. It's important to research.
Peace and blessings, good people.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? We just want to thank y'all for tuning in to season 3, Black Fly on the Wall.
Aren't you happy that you get me, a woman's perspective? Black Fly on the Wall is typically about men and their thoughts. I like to add my 2 cents.
And that's a wrap. Definitely had a good time speaking on different topics. I hope you all enjoy. Share this, comment. It's meant to. Damn, I need to start over again. And that's a wrap. That's it. Damn, bro.
I got the chair all far back. You know, I'm sure I got the other votes. Cool. Thank you all for tuning in. Check out season. Right? I'm like, bruh. Thank you all for tuning in to season 3 of Black Fly on the Wall.
Thanks for rocking with us, Black Fly on the Wall, season 3.
And that's a wrap for this episode. We hope you enjoy. It's meant to spark conversations in your home and create change.
What's good, world? It's Aaron Lod, producer of Black Fly on the Wall. I just want to thank you for tuning in, sharing, liking, commenting. Please subscribe below to our YouTube channel and share with your friends. Talk about it in the barbershop, hair salon, wherever you may be. But we appreciate your time and your effort into listening to what we have to say. We hope you enjoy the topics. God bless.
As a swindler, sweeping up these chains like I never been a prisoner. Exchange these chains for angels in my perimeter. Never be the same, I'm flawed, but I'm forgiven, bruh.